Hey guys, it's Nathan down here at ZIMM'S Guitars, and I brought something cool in today. Let's come in and check it out. So as you can see, it came in a Fender case, and this is like a mid to late 50s style off-white case, they called them. They weren't as popular as the tweed cases, but they did make them back then. And as you can see, it's a custom shop, 55 Esquire. It's got the maple neck on there. This thing is basically to 55 specs. Everything about it is a 55 spec Esquire.
What year was it made?
2015.
2015.
It's not too old. The one thing that I really like about this guitar, there's a bunch of things, but the thing that first caught my eye, I bought this on Reverb, is that it's a light relic. It's not a heavy relic guitar. You know, you have some relicing on the sides here, and you know the lacquer is sunken into the wood grain, and you do have some light checking. If you get it in the right light, you could see it. But it's not one of those custom shop relics where it's missing all the paint on the back.
That's right.
And
you had one of those, didn't you?
yeah, we did a video on.
I remember that.
On a heavy relic telly.
Yeah.
And that thing was heavy relic, right? It was insane. This one is quite a bit more modest, and to me, this is what an actual 50s telly would look like if some guy just played it for 60 years, you know.
Right.
You're going to have some arm wear. It's got some dings here, the checking. And like I said, man, I don't know if you could pick this up on the camera, but you could see the grain in the wood, and the lacquer has sunken into it. You can almost feel it when you touch it, when you rub your finger across it. And
so that's a lot of workmanship to get that finish to look like that.
It's crazy, man. It really is.
You got to sit there with little razor blades and carve all that in there?
I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they do it, but it's got to be a thin coat of nitro lacquer. Because when you can't feel an edge on the lacquer where it meets the body where it's worn off. Like if it was poly, you would be able to feel like an edge there.
Right.
You know, like if you've ever played, you know, a Fender Strat that was finished in poly and it's got some chips in it, you can feel that thick lacquer on it, you know, or poly. So this thing, man, it weighs 6.1 pounds. This thing is stupid light.
Right.
This is like one of the lightest guitars I've ever played.
And is it a ash body?
I'm pretty sure that's ash. If you look at the grain is pretty pronounced. It doesn't have any crazy V's in it like you see on some ash. But I think there's too much grain for it to be like an alder body or something. But the thing about the custom shop... Didn't they even
make some out of pine back in the early days of Fender?
They might have. But the one thing that the custom shop is like superior at doing is picking the right pieces of wood.
Okay.
Like you said, their craftsmanship on the lacquer, the finish, everything is crazy. But what really sets the custom shop apart from their production line of guitars is they're using like the best pieces of wood. You know, ash is known to be heavy, but like I said, this is a 6.1 pound guitar.
Is that one solid piece of wood there, or is that a two-piece?
I would be surprised if it was a single piece, but I can't find any like lines, like match lines, you know, or like any seams. But
I think it's one piece.
It's possible, man. Like I said, they picked some of the best wood, you know. And so like I said, I bought this on Reverb, sight unseen. I like a chunky neck. And when I got it, man, I wasn't disappointed, you know. If you check out the tuners up here, the tuners are aged perfectly. And single line Clouson style tuners, they do say Fender instead of Clouson, but that's period correct, you know, right spec. Even down to, if I flip it back over, you can see the serial numbers on the neck plate, which in 55 they switched to having the serial number on the neck plate. Fender patent pending bridge plate and staggered pole piece pickup, which in 54 they switched over to the staggered pole pieces, and they removed the serial number off the bridge plate, and then you have your 3 saddles there.
Let me ask you a question now about your 3-way switch.
Yeah,
What's it do with only one single pickup?
I knew that was coming. So everyone will ask you that same question. So here you have your standard Tele control plate. 3-way switch, like you said, volume and tone. Okay, so the way that it works is in this bridge position, it bypasses the tone control. So it's just pickup, straight to volume, straight to output.
Nice.
Being that you don't have a tone control in the circuit, which has a capacitor and then a potentiometer is just, you know, variable resistor, it eliminates that from the circuit. So you get way more top end. It's brighter than it normally would be. And it's just more raw sounding because you have less components in the circuit.
Right.
Middle position, standard volume and tone control.
Okay.
Okay, so that's just like a regular Tele.
Right.
If you were playing on the bridge pickup. Neck position is where it gets a little weird for some people, and it's this bridge pickup obviously, but you have it wired with your volume still, but it has capacitors with fixed values, and it sounds like you have your tone rolled all the way off. So it's a really, they call it like a dark circuit.
Right.
It's really dark, kind of muddy, especially depending on how you have your amp set up. And what it was kind of used for is back in the 50s, before electric basses were like really a popular thing, guys with their Esquires, even Teles had the same wiring. Mm-hmm. They had a dark circuit up here. So guys with their Teles and Esquires, they could almost play, you know, like a bass line.
Right.
Because it was really dark and muted. And there's still some bands out there nowadays that are using that kind of tone. Like, check out the song Elephant by Tame Impala. That's that tone right there with like a fuzz pedal on it. You know, and you're getting that real dark sound, but when you throw fuzz on top of it, kind of opens it back up a little bit. So, yeah, maple neck on this one. And like I said, they're staying true to that that 50 spec. You get a spaghetti logo with the round string tree on there. Whereas in 55 or 56, I think that they switched over to the butterfly string tree instead of the round string tree. And you have your vintage style tuning pegs where the string just goes right down into the peg instead of having a hole that you have to loop it through. And you have your white single ply 5-hole pick guard. Just overall, man, they like did a killer job making this to 50s spec. And you know, on the back you have your standard 5-string six, of course 6 string ferrules there, and just killer, man. It's really cool. I'm not sure exactly what pickup they put in it, but it's, you know, 50s, you know, Esquire or Tele pickup. And I do have the case candy for this. It's at home though. You know, in here I just keep all my stuff I'm going to need, like my strap and cable, tuner, whatever. But I have the certificate of authenticity, ashtray bridge cover, Fender polishing cloth, all the good stuff, you know. But yeah, like I said, man, I bought this on Reverb, and the description was pretty basic. You know, they didn't go into like neck profile or, you know, the way it sounds or anything, but I couldn't be happier with it. They did say that it was only a 6.1 pound guitar. And here's my thinking on that. This is one of the most resonant guitars I've ever played. And when the wood is super dry, that means it's more lightweight. The lighter the wood is, the drier it generally is. And the drier your wood is, the more resonant it is. So when I see a Telly or an Esquire or a Strat even that weighs 6.1 pounds, you know that thing is going to be pretty resonant and the wood is going to be really dried out. So, you know, that along with the pictures, I was like, I've been looking for an Esquire. It's like my dream guitar. And I was like, man, I got to pull the trigger on this one. So I did, and I definitely wasn't disappointed. You know, comparing this to, I've played real Blackguard Tellys and Blackguard Esquires, you know, 52 and 53 Tellys and 59 Strats, and, you know, pretty much all the vintage Fenders. Man, I even own a couple vintage Fenders. And this thing beats them hands down. It's pretty crazy, man. Because I've been a big vintage guy, you know, and I kind of looked at the custom shops and, you know, some of the newer guitars and was like, it's cool, but it's not the same. And then I played this thing and I was like, geez, man, it's kind of hard to get better than that, you know.
Well, Nathan, let's plug it in. Let's give it a listen.
All right, so I'm going to show you guys the dark circuit really quick. This is my volume, and yeah, the tone is cut out with your dark circuit on. Like I said, it's just those fixed capacitors. So this is my volume all the way up. So you can really hear the difference when you switch over into the middle position there. And then switching into the bridge, I'll play the same lick. And you can see if you can hear the difference. It might be kind of hard to pick it up on the camera, but in person you can hear a little bit more, little more brightness and twanginess, if you want to call it that. But one thing that I really do like this setup for, though, is if you dial in the right position on your tone knob, something that you're like really happy with. Then it's easier to switch back and forth between the bridge and middle position than messing with your tone knob if you have it set to the perfect spot. 55 custom shop Esquire. Thanks for checking it out. We're down here at ZIMM'S Guitars.